When you refuse to pursue a narcissist after a breakup, here's what they're feeling. Hello everyone. Today we're diving into a less discussed but essential aspect of narcissistic behavior. What happens when you refuse to chase after them once they've left? Have you ever wondered what occurs when you opt out of their manipulative games? When you withhold the attention and validation a narcissist craves, their frustration and bitterness become evident. Despite mistreating you, they expect you to seek their approval. But what happens when you stop playing along? Your silence reflects their insecurities and flaws, rejecting their manipulative strategies. In this discussion, we'll explore how much narcissists rely on others' reactions and the intense emotions they experience when things don't go their way. We'll reveal the vulnerability and desperation behind their facade of confidence. Join us as we navigate the dynamics of power and emotional turmoil inherent in narcissism. Before we go further, let's acknowledge the importance of ongoing support for conversations like these. Your engagement through likes, shares, and subscriptions helps build a community of understanding. Each action spreads invaluable insights, potentially reaching those who need them. Now, let's examine narcissism's impact on relationships. One critical aspect is how narcissists retain control over their social circles, especially during breakups. Their actions are calculated to maintain their perceived supply, those they exploit for their gain. They manipulate the timing of breakups to shield themselves from rejection, thus maintaining dominance in relationship dynamics. Recognizing these behaviors allows us to navigate such relationships with clarity and resilience. Understanding narcissistic patterns not only reveals their strategies, but also equips us with defenses against emotional manipulation. Let's embark on this journey together, emerging stronger and wiser in our interactions. Firstly, narcissists see you as dependent on them, believing you can't function without their presence, which boosts their sense of superiority and control. Secondly, they expect you to pursue them relentlessly, feeding their ego and reinforcing their self-importance. They thrive on your pursuit, seeking validation that upholds their grandiose self-image. When you fail to meet their expectations, they become enraged. Oddly, they need your negative reactions to feel good about themselves. When you don't react as they expect, they feel empty and wounded. Your refusal to feed their ego leaves them feeling exposed and hurt. The lingering pain persists because they lose their hold over you, no longer having you to manage their emotions. They start to blame you for their unhappiness, convinced that your lack of response is the cause. In their perception, you become the antagonist, apparently causing harm by not meeting their expectations. It's a skewed viewpoint, but it's how they see things. Here's where it becomes peculiar. Despite inflicting numerous wrongs upon you, lying, cheating, devaluing, and eventually abandoning you, they begin to see themselves as the victim. They feel injured because you're no longer enduring suffering for their sake, no longer sacrificing yourself as you once did. Understanding the mindset of narcissists can be bewildering for those unfamiliar with it. Their focus revolves entirely around themselves, their desires, needs, and wants. Recognizing this can facilitate better interaction with them and shed light on their conduct. When confronted with their flaws, or when their demands aren't met, narcissists often resort to manipulation tactics to uphold their sense of superiority and control. They may use gaslighting techniques, distorting reality to make you doubt your perceptions and feelings. This manipulation reinforces their victim narrative and deflects any accountability from themselves. Additionally, individuals with narcissistic tendencies thrive on attention and validation. When they feel they're not getting the admiration they believe they deserve, they may react strongly, resorting to behaviors aimed at reclaiming the spotlight. These actions can range from extravagant displays to spreading rumors or undermining others to elevate themselves. Despite the harm they cause in relationships, narcissists often fail to recognize the impact of their actions. They are adept at justifying their behavior, portraying themselves as misunderstood protagonists in their own stories. This lack of self-awareness perpetuates a cycle of unhealthy behavior, making it difficult for them to form genuine connections based on mutual respect and understanding. When it comes to self-reflection and accountability, narcissists often take a different approach compared to most individuals. Instead of acknowledging their faults and seeking to make things right, they tend to deflect blame onto others, refusing to accept responsibility for their actions. This lack of introspection creates challenges in dealing with narcissists, as they repeatedly fail to learn from their mistakes. Even if narcissists express a desire to mend a relationship, their efforts are often hindered by their deep-seated feelings of resentment and a thirst for revenge. Despite any outward attempts to reconcile, they remain trapped in a cycle of bitterness, oscillating between fixating on those they perceive as having wronged them and trying to maintain an image of indifference. This emotional roller coaster of anger, retaliation, and denial becomes a barrier to any genuine progress or growth. In their quest to regain control or soothe their wounded ego, narcissists often employ manipulative tactics like hoovering, trying to pull others back into their orbit, or hastily jumping into new relationships as a form of validation. However, these attempts are typically short-lived, as they ultimately revert to their default state of frustration and self-pity. This perpetuates a cycle of dysfunction and blocks any chance of meaningful resolution. Driven by an insatiable need for validation and admiration, narcissists often react with intense anger to any perceived challenge to their ego or superiority. This anger is not fleeting but deeply ingrained, triggered by criticism or rejection. Their intolerance for anything that threatens their self-image can manifest in various forms of aggression or manipulation. Moreover, the anger displayed by narcissists is closely tied to their sense of entitlement and exaggerated self-importance. When they don't receive the admiration or compliance they believe they deserve, they may react with fury, seeing it as a direct challenge to their perceived superiority. This sense of entitlement reinforces their belief that they are beyond criticism and deserving of special treatment, making it difficult for them to handle any form of criticism or rejection without responding with anger or retaliation. In summary, understanding narcissistic anger requires recognizing the complex interplay between their fragile self-esteem, constant need for validation, and distorted sense of entitlement. By acknowledging these underlying dynamics, individuals can navigate interactions with narcissists more effectively, setting boundaries to protect themselves from manipulation and harm, while also showing empathy for the insecurities driving the narcissistic behavior. We deeply appreciate your participation in our discussions. Your input is invaluable. By joining our community for just $1, you gain access to exclusive benefits and help support our content growth. Your backing is crucial for maintaining our standards and exploring new opportunities. Thank you for being a valued member of our audience and for your meaningful contributions.